Commander Lee Daeho stared at the massive alien ship floating outside his viewport. The vessel looked like a crystal flower made of metal, nothing like the warships he knew from Earth. His hand stayed steady on the control panel, but his heart raced. This was it. First contact with aliens. "Captain, they're sending another message," said Dr. Park So-Young from her station. She was the smartest person he knew about alien life. Even though they had never met any before today, the translation software is working better now. The main screen filled with the image of a creature that looked like it was made of living glass. It had no mouth that Lee could see, but somehow it spoke. "Greetings, beings of the Yellow Star. I am High Counselor Vextar of the Galactic Trade Confederation. We welcome you to our community." Ambassador Kim Taemin stepped forward. He wore his best suit and had practiced this moment for months. "Thank you, High Counselor. I am Ambassador Kim Taemin, representing Earth and humanity. We are honored to meet you." The crystal being seemed to glow brighter. "Humanity. A beautiful name. We have waited long to meet new friends. Your species will bring much joy to our confederation. We have 847 member species, all living in peace and trade." Dr. Park leaned close to Lee. "Captain, this is incredible. They've been in space for thousands of years, and they're completely peaceful. No wars, no conflicts. Just trade and friendship." Lee nodded, but something felt strange. In his 20 years of military service, he had never met anyone who claimed to have no conflicts. Even the most peaceful countries on Earth had police and armies. But he said nothing. This was diplomacy, not war. "We would be happy to learn about your confederation," Kim said. "Perhaps we can arrange a formal meeting." "Of course," Vextar replied. "But first we must follow our protocols. We will ask questions about your species. This helps us understand how to welcome you properly." Another alien appeared on the screen. This one looked like a large fish with arms and legs. "I am Trade Master Quindal. I will ask about your world and your people." Dr. Park activated her recording devices. This was the moment she had dreamed of since becoming a scientist. Real aliens asking real questions about humanity. "Tell us about your planet's other intelligent species," Quindal asked. "How do you share your world?" Kim smiled. "We are the only intelligent species on Earth now. There used to be others, like Neanderthals, but they died out long ago. We're all that's left." The aliens exchanged glances. Vextar's glow dimmed slightly. "You are the only ones? What happened to the others?" "Natural evolution," Dr. Park explained helpfully. "We competed for resources and living space. The stronger groups survived and the weaker ones didn't. It's perfectly normal." Lee noticed that several aliens on the screen looked uncomfortable. He wondered why. "Evolution was just science, I see," Quindal said slowly. "And how does your species handle disagreements? When groups want different things?" Kim thought for a moment. "Well, we try diplomacy first, of course. But sometimes we have to fight. We've had many wars throughout our history. World War I, World War II, smaller conflicts. It's how we solve problems when talking doesn't work." The temperature in the alien ship seemed to drop. Vextar's glow was now very dim. "Wars? You solve problems by fighting?" "Not always," Lee said, trying to help. "Sometimes we use economic pressure, or we blockade their supplies, or in extreme cases, we use our military. We have nuclear weapons, but we only use those as a last resort." Every alien on the screen went completely still. The silence stretched for long seconds. "Nuclear weapons?" Quindal whispered. "Oh yes," Dr. Park said proudly. "We developed them in the 1940s, very powerful. We used them to end World War II. Of course, now we have much better weapons. We could destroy entire continents if we needed to, but we don't like to do that." Ambassador Kim sensed the mood change and tried to lighten things. "But that's all in the past. We're explorers now. In fact, our faster-than-light drive was originally designed as a weapon system. We figured out how to use it for travel instead." The aliens stared at them in complete silence. Lee began to feel very uncomfortable. Had they said something wrong? "Your transportation device was a weapon?" Vextar asked. "Well, sort of," Lee explained. "We were working on something that could punch holes in space-time for military purposes. Long-range bombardment, you know. But then our scientists realized we could use the same technology to travel between stars." Dr. Park nodded enthusiastically. "It's really quite clever. We take the destructive power and redirect it into propulsion. Much more efficient than the old chemical rockets." The alien ship suddenly moved back several kilometers. Lee's sensors showed that more alien ships were arriving, surrounding the human vessel. "Is there a problem?" Kim asked, his diplomatic smile starting to fade. Quindal spoke very carefully. We must consult with our leaders. This meeting has been very uneducational. Educational how? Dr. Park asked. Did we say something wrong? Vextar's form flickered. No, you have been very honest. Perhaps too honest. We will contact you soon to arrange the next meeting. The screen went dark. Lee looked around his bridge. His crew seemed confused. What just happened? Asked his weapons officer, Lieutenant Yoon Ji-hoon. I think, said Dr. Park slowly, we might have scared them. Scared them how? Kim demanded. We were just being honest about our history and technology. Lee pulled up the recording of their conversation and listened to it again. When he heard it from an outsider's perspective, he began to understand. To the aliens, humans sounded like a species that had killed off all other intelligent life on their planet, fought constant wars, built weapons that could destroy continents, and turned their most destructive technology into a way to travel between stars. Maybe, Lee said quietly. We should have mentioned the peaceful parts first. Outside the ship, the alien vessels maintained their distance. In their ships, the aliens were already sending urgent messages across the galaxy. The new species was more dangerous than anything they had ever encountered. The humans talked about genocide and planet-killing weapons like other species talked about the weather. The Galactic Trade Confederation had just met their first predator species, and the predators wanted to be friends. Dr. Yoon Ji-woo walked through the market district of Nexus Prime, the Confederation's main trading hub. 3 months had passed since first contact, and Earth had finally opened an embassy here. She was supposed to study alien cultures, but lately, she felt like the aliens were studying her instead. Every time she approached a group of aliens talking, they would suddenly go quiet. When she smiled and said hello, they would nod politely but quickly walk away. It was starting to make her nervous. Maybe they're just shy, she told herself, but she didn't believe it. At the embassy, Captain Choi Min-ho was having his own problems. As the military attaché, his job was to monitor communications and keep Earth safe. What he was hearing in the alien broadcasts was starting to worry him. Dr. Yoon, he called as she entered the building. Can you help me understand something? She sat down at his desk, grateful for someone to talk to. What's wrong? I've been listening to their news broadcasts and military channels. They keep using certain words when they talk about us. Hunter species and apex predators and something that translates to deathwalkers. Are these normal terms? Yoon frowned. I've never heard any of those before. What's the context? Choi played a recording. The translation was rough but clear enough. The new species shows classic hunter behaviors. They eliminated competing intelligence on their world. Their recreational activities include combat simulation. Their young are trained in warfare through games. Games? Yoon said. What games? They pulled up Earth's cultural files that had been shared with the Confederation. Choi pointed at the screen. Look at this. They're talking about chess, video games, sports like boxing and martial arts. They think we train our children to be killers. Yoon laughed, but it sounded forced. That's ridiculous. Chess is just strategy. Video games are entertainment. Sports are... She stopped. When she thought about it from an alien perspective, human entertainment was pretty violent. Movies about war, games about fighting, sports where people hit each other. Even children's games like tag were about chasing and catching. Captain, maybe we should talk to Ambassador Song Hana about this. But before they could leave, Choi's communication system activated. A message was coming through alien channels, not directed at Earth but intercepted by their monitoring systems. The speaker was an insect-like creature called Scientist Ethanara. My research into the human species reveals disturbing facts. They are persistence hunters who evolved to chase prey until it died from exhaustion. This behavior pattern still exists in their culture. What does that mean? Yoon whispered. They run their prey to death, Choi said grimly. And apparently we still do it. They're talking about human marathons and long-distance running. To them it looks like we're keeping our hunting skills sharp. The message continued. More concerning is their pack-bonding behavior. They form emotional attachments to other predator species which they call pets. This suggests they can domesticate even dangerous creatures. They're talking about dogs and cats, Yoon realized. They think we conquered other predators and made them our servants. Another voice joined the broadcast. This one sounded like rocks grinding together. General Mordak reporting from the Military Analysis Division. Human ship designs are purely military in nature. No civilian vessels detected. All human transportation appears designed for warfare. Choi's face went pale. That's because we only have military ships. We've never needed civilian space vessels before. Every ship we've built has been for exploration or defense. But to them, Yoon said slowly, it looks like our entire space program is military. The broadcast wasn't finished. A tiny squeaky voice came through next. Trader Piplon here. I witnessed human behavior at the embassy yesterday. The security guard was playing with a weapon. He repeatedly drew it from its holster and spun it around his finger. When asked, he said it was fun and stress relief. The humans find weapons relaxing. Yoon buried her face in her hands. That was Lieutenant Park showing off his quick-draw skills. It's just a hobby. To them, it's a predator keeping its killing tools ready, Choi said. They listened to more reports. Humans ate meat at every meal. Human children played war games with toy weapons. Human entertainment included gladiator sports and combat competitions. Human literature was full of stories about conquering and defeating enemies. We need to see Ambassador Song, Yoon said urgently. They found Ambassador Song Hana in her office, looking tired and frustrated. Dr. Yoon, Captain Choi, I was about to call you. Ma'am, we've intercepted some concerning communications, Choi began. Song held up her hand. Let me guess. They think we're monsters, you know? Yoon asked. I've been getting reports from other embassy staff. Yesterday, I mentioned that humans were natural-born killers when I was trying to explain why we're good at solving problems. I meant it as a compliment. Today, I can't get a meeting with anyone on the Confederation Council. She activated her desk screen. Look at this. It's an internal Confederation document that someone leaked to us. The document was titled, Threat Assessment, Species, Designation Human. Below that was a line that made them all go cold. Classification, Category 5 Aggressive Species, Unprecedented Danger Level. Category 5? Choi asked. What are Categories 1 through 4? Song scrolled down. Category 1 is completely peaceful species. Category 2 has minor territorial disputes. Category 3 has regional conflicts. Category 4 has planetary wars. And Category 5? Yoon whispered. Category 5 has never been used before. It's for species that pose a threat to galactic stability. Song's voice was shaking slightly. According to this, we're the first species they've ever encountered that they consider capable of destroying multiple worlds. The document continued with a detailed analysis. Humans had evolved in an environment so dangerous that they became ultimate survivors. They had eliminated all competing intelligence on their planet. They had developed weapons capable of destroying their own world and kept building better ones. Most terrifying of all, they appeared to enjoy violence and treated warfare as entertainment. There's more, Song said. She scrolled to a section marked Psychological Profile. They've been analyzing our behavior and communications. They've concluded that humans are capable of something called empathy suppression, the ability to stop caring about enemies and treat them as objects to be destroyed. They mean soldiers following orders in wartime, Choi said. Yes, but no other species can do that. When other species fight, they still see their enemies as people. Humans can flip a switch and see enemies as targets. To the Confederation, that makes us psychopaths. Yoon felt sick. So they think we're a galaxy-conquering species of genocidal psychopaths who keep other predators as pets and train our children to kill for fun. That's exactly what they think. Song confirmed. An alert chimed on Song's communication system. She activated it and went pale. It's a message from the Confederation High Council. They want to meet with Earth's leadership immediately. That sounds good, Yoon said hopefully. Song shook her head. The meeting is titled Ultimatum and Compliance Protocols for Dangerous Species. They're not inviting us to join them anymore. They're figuring out how to control us. Through the embassy windows, they could see alien ships in the distance. More ships than usual, and they all seem to be military vessels. Captain, Song said quietly, send a message to Earth. Tell them we might have a problem. As Choi composed the message, none of them realized that across the galaxy, every major species was receiving the same information about humanity. The whispers had become shouts, and the shouts were all saying the same thing. The most dangerous predator species in galactic history had just achieved spaceflight, and they wanted to be friends. The Confederation was about to make a decision that would change everything. President Han Soo-jin sat in the emergency session of Earth's Global Council, reading the report that had arrived from Nexus Prime. 6 months ago, humanity had been celebrating first contact with aliens. Now those same aliens considered them the most dangerous species in the galaxy. "This has to be a misunderstanding," said General Lim Young-sik, Earth's top military commander. "We're explorers, not conquerors." "Tell that to them," replied Foreign Minister Cho Hyun-woo, pointing at the data streaming in from their embassy. "Every major species in the Confederation is mobilizing their military forces." On the main screen, Dr. Park So-young appeared via video link from Nexus Prime. She looked exhausted. "Mr. President, the situation here is getting worse. 3 more species have withdrawn their ambassadors. The Nexus Prime Security Council has restricted human movement to the embassy district." "What exactly are they afraid of?" President Han asked. "Everything," Dr. Park said. "Yesterday I tried to explain human sports to a group of alien researchers. When I showed them footage of a boxing match, half of them fainted. When I explained that we do this for entertainment, the other half requested emergency evacuation." Admiral Lim leaned forward. "Dr. Park, what's their military assessment of our capabilities?" "That's the problem, Admiral. They've analyzed everything we've shared about human history and technology. To them, we look like a species that conquered our entire planet, eliminated all competing intelligence, and turned warfare into science." The screen split to show another feed from the Confederation's High Council chambers. Humanity had been granted permission to observe their debates, though they had no voting rights. Councillor Tharion, a bird-like creature with silver feathers, was speaking. "For 3,000 years, our Confederation has maintained peace through understanding and trade. We have welcomed 847 species without a single act of aggression. But this is different." The translation system rendered his words in perfect Korean. "The humans call themselves explorers, but every ship they have built is a weapon. They speak of acceptable losses and strategic sacrifice as if lives were numbers. Most disturbing of all, their children learn warfare through games they call fun." Another creature stood to speak. This one looked like a walking tree with too many eyes. War scholar Brechton speaks. "I have studied combat for centuries, analyzing theoretical conflicts between species. The human military doctrine is unlike anything in our records. They plan for total destruction of enemies. They prepare to sacrifice their own people to achieve victory. They speak of winning at any cost as if it were natural." President Han muted the feed. "Are we really that different from them?" "Yes," said Dr. Kim Sung-ho, Earth's leading expert on alien psychology. "Mr. President, we've been studying their psychology for months. These species evolved differently than we did. Most of them never had major predators on their worlds. They never fought for survival the way we did. The concept of total war is literally incomprehensible to them." "What do you mean?" General Lim asked. "They can't understand how a species can completely dehumanize their enemies. When they fight, which is rare, they still see their opponents as people. They can't flip the switch that lets soldiers kill without breaking down emotionally." Dr. Park's voice came from the speakers. "The Confederation psychologists have a term for it. They call it empathy override capability. No other species has it." The Alien Council continued their debate. A creature that looked like living water spoke next. Peacekeeper Lulana warns the Council, "I have touched the minds of humans during our cultural exchanges. Their thoughts are sharp, focused. When they consider conflict, their minds become like blades. They can imagine terrible things without emotional distress." President Han rubbed his temples. "So they think we're emotionless killers." "Not emotionless," Dr. Kim corrected. "They think we can turn our emotions off when we need to fight." And they're right. That's exactly what soldiers are trained to do. The Confederation Council's debate was reaching a conclusion. High Counselor Vexistar, the crystal being who had first welcomed humanity, now looked dim and fractured. "The evidence is clear. Humanity represents a threat to galactic peace unlike any we have faced. They have eliminated all competing intelligence on their world. They have weapons capable of destroying planets. Their population shows no signs of the psychological barriers that prevent other species from committing genocide." A vote was called. Of the 847 species in the Confederation, 823 voted in favor of the resolution. Only 24 abstained. 0 voted against. The resolution was simple and terrifying. Species designation human hereby classified as Galactic Security Threat Level Maximum. Mandatory compliance protocols to be implemented immediately. Admiral Lim stood up slowly. What are mandatory compliance protocols? Dr. Park's image flickered as she read from her datapad. They're demanding complete military disarmament. All human weapons technology must be surrendered to Confederation oversight. All human colonies must accept military observers. Earth's population must undergo psychological evaluation and treatment to suppress aggressive tendencies. Treatment? President Han asked. Basically, they want to lobotomize our entire species, Dr. Kim said bluntly. Remove our ability to fight even in self-defense. The alien council wasn't finished. Bextar continued speaking, his crystalline form now completely colorless. If humanity refuses compliance, the Confederation will implement preemptive pacification protocols. For the safety of all galactic civilization, the human threat must be neutralized. Preemptive pacification? General Lim's voice was deadly quiet. Military action, Dr. Park translated. They're going to attack us if we don't surrender. President Han stared at the screen showing the alien council. Hundreds of species representing billions of beings had just voted to destroy humanity's ability to defend itself. If humans refused, they would face the combined military might of nearly 1,000 species. How long do we have? He asked. 30 days, Dr. Park replied. They're giving us 30 days to submit our compliance plan. The room fell silent. Through the windows of the council chamber, Earth looked peaceful and blue, unaware that it had just been declared a threat to galactic civilization. Mr. President, Admiral Lim said carefully, what are your orders? Before President Han could answer, another message arrived from the Confederation. This one was addressed directly to humanity's leadership. The translation was perfect and the message was crystal clear. To the leaders of species designation human, your first contact with our Confederation was enlightening. We now understand what you truly are. You have 30 standard days to submit to our compliance protocols. If you refuse, we will demonstrate why no species has ever threatened galactic peace and survived. Congratulations. You just declared war on the galaxy's most deadly species. President Han read the message twice before understanding the final line. The Confederation wasn't calling themselves the deadly species. They were talking about humanity. Admiral, President Han said quietly, begin preparing our defenses. If they want to see how deadly we can be, perhaps we should show them. Outside Earth's atmosphere, long-range sensors detected the first Confederation ships taking position around the Sol system. The ultimatum had been delivered. Now humanity had 30 days to decide whether to surrender their freedom or fight the entire galaxy. The galaxy was about to learn why apex predators were apex predators. Fleet Admiral Park Dong-woo floated in the command center of Earth's orbital defense station, watching the countdown timer tick toward zero. 29 days, 15 hours, and 37 minutes ago, the galaxy had given humanity an ultimatum. In 3 hours, they would have their answer. Admiral, long-range sensors are picking up massive fleet movements, reported Captain An Jae-sung from his fighter squadron command post. Looks like they weren't bluffing. Through the station's main viewport, the Confederation fleet was visible even without magnification. 150 ships, each one larger than anything humanity had ever built. They hung in space like metal mountains, their alien designs beautiful and terrifying. Dr. Kim, what's the status on our modifications? Admiral Park asked. Dr. Kim Sung-ho looked up from his engineering console, sweat beading on his forehead. Admiral, I've done everything I can in 30 days. We've turned cargo haulers into missile platforms, mining ships into bombers, and passenger shuttles into fighters. But we're still outgunned by about 50-1. Numbers aren't everything, said Colonel Lee Haijin, commander of the 1st Human Space Marine Unit. We have advantages they don't expect. Admiral Park nodded. He had spent the last month studying everything humanity knew about Confederation military doctrine. They fought clean wars with non-lethal weapons, focusing on disabling enemy technology rather than destroying enemy personnel. They had rules about civilian protection, proportional response, and honorable surrender. Humanity had different rules. Humanity had one rule: win. Intelligence Chief Bay, what's the status of our spy network? Intelligence Chief Bay Miran smiled grimly. Admiral, we've had people on Confederation worlds for months now. They think they're just human diplomats and researchers, but every single one of them has been gathering military intelligence. The aliens never suspected because they don't think like we do. And what have they learned? Their ships are amazingly advanced, but they're designed for intimidation and defense. Most of their crews have never seen real combat. They expect this to be over quickly and cleanly. The communication system activated. A familiar crystalline form appeared on the main screen. High Counselor Vextar looking even more fractured than before. Admiral Park, Vextar said, his translated voice carrying obvious stress. I am here to accept your surrender and begin the pacification process. Please prepare your fleet for inspection and disarmament. Admiral Park straightened his uniform. High Counselor, humanity rejects your ultimatum. We will not surrender our freedom or our ability to defend ourselves. The silence from the alien ship lasted nearly a minute. When Vextar spoke again, his voice was filled with what sounded like genuine sadness. Admiral, you do not understand. We are not asking. We are informing. Your species will be pacified for the good of galactic civilization. Then you'll have to take us by force. Another pause. Admiral, we have studied your capabilities. You have 37 ships. We have 150. You have been in space for less than a century. We have dominated the stars for millennia. This is not a battle you can win. Admiral Park smiled, and even through the translation software, Vexitar seemed to sense something predatory in that expression. High Counselor, you're absolutely right. This isn't a battle we can win, so we're not going to fight a battle. The communication ended. Admiral Park turned to his command staff. All ships execute Operation Madman. Across the Sol system, human vessels that had been hiding in asteroid fields, behind moons, and in the shadows of planets suddenly activated their engines. The Confederation had counted 37 ships. There were actually over 200, most of them converted civilian vessels armed with weapons that Dr. Kim's team had cobbled together from mining equipment, construction tools, and pure human ingenuity. Captain Ahn led the first wave of fighters in a direct assault on the Confederation flagship. The alien ships responded exactly as predicted. They fired non-lethal disabling weapons designed to shut down human technology without harming the crews. The weapons worked perfectly. Ahn's fighter lost power and began drifting helplessly toward the alien ship. The Confederation crew prepared to capture the disabled human pilot. They were not prepared for Ahn to detonate the improvised explosive device that Dr. Kim had, hidden in every fighter's engine compartment. The explosion tore through the Confederation flagship's shields like they were made of paper. No species in galactic history had ever used suicide attacks. The concept was so alien that they had no defenses against it. Wave 2, execute, Admiral Park ordered calmly. Colonel Lee's marine transports, also disguised as disabled ships, drifted close to Confederation vessels before their crews burst out in combat suits designed for close-quarters fighting. The aliens had weapons that could disable human technology from a distance, but they had no idea how to fight humans who were trying to kill them with knives and explosives in the corridors of their own ships. The Confederation forces panicked. Their military doctrine had no provisions for enemies who would rather die than surrender. Their crew training had no preparation for combat against beings who treated death as an acceptable tactical option. Admiral, we're receiving multiple surrender requests from Confederation ships, reported Captain Yu Sung-min from the communication station. Ignore them, Admiral Park replied. Continue the assault. Dr. Kim activated his masterpiece, a network of automated cargo haulers loaded with mining charges, all programmed to ram Confederation ships at maximum speed. The aliens tried to disable the ships with their non-lethal weapons, but the cargo haulers had no life support systems to shut down, no crews to spare. They were just metal and explosives guided by simple computers and human determination. The Confederation fleet began to retreat. This is impossible, came Vextar's voice over the emergency channel. Your weapons are primitive. Your ships are inferior. How are you defeating us? Colonel Lee answered from inside a captured alien vessel, where her Marines were systematically destroying everything they could find. Because you fight to disable, we fight to kill. You try to win cleanly. We try to win at all costs. You see war as a last resort. We see it as just another tool. Intelligence Chief Bay activated her network of human agents on Confederation worlds. Across the galaxy, humans who had been posing as harmless diplomats and researchers suddenly revealed that they had spent months mapping alien military installations, copying defense plans, and identifying critical infrastructure. High Counselor, Admiral Park said, opening a channel to the retreating flagship. You wanted to see how dangerous humanity could be. Consider this a demonstration. We have people on every major Confederation world. We know where your command centers are, where your leaders live, where your children go to school. Vextar's crystalline form flickered with terror. You would threaten civilians? Children? We would threaten anyone and anything necessary to protect our freedom, Admiral Park replied. That's what makes us dangerous. We don't have your moral limitations. The Confederation fleet jumped to faster than light speed, fleeing the Sol system in complete disorder. Behind them, they left 17 disabled ships and over 3,000 captured aliens who were now face-to-face with the species they had tried to pacify. Admiral, reported Captain Kim Min-ju from the Prisoner Processing Center. The alien captives are in complete psychological shock. Most of them have never seen violence before. They're asking how we can function with predator thoughts in our heads. Admiral Park looked out at the debris field that had been the Confederation's pacification fleet. Human casualties had been heavy. Over 40 ships destroyed and 600 personnel killed. But humanity had won its first interstellar battle against impossible odds. Send a message to the Confederation High Council, he ordered. Tell them that humanity is willing to negotiate, but only as equals. Tell them that any further attempts at pacification will be met with total war. He paused, thinking about the final line of their ultimatum, and tell them they were right. They did declare war on the galaxy's most deadly species. They just didn't realize which species that was. Across the galaxy, the news of humanity's victory spread like wildfire. For the first time in 3,000 years, a species had defeated Confederation forces in open combat. But more terrifying than their victory was how they had achieved it. Through tactics so brutal and alien that most species couldn't even comprehend them. The Confederation now faced a choice: accept humanity as an equal partner, or escalate to total war against a species that had just proven they would rather die fighting than live in chains. Either way, the galaxy would never be the same. Diplomat Zhong Yujin stood in the neutral meeting chamber on the ancient world of Sanctuary, watching thousands of alien species prepare for what might be the galaxy's final war. 1 year had passed since humanity's victory at Sol, and the Confederation was mobilizing every species, every ship, every weapon they had ever built. Across the room, Ambassador Song Hana reviewed the latest intelligence reports. Zhong, the numbers are staggering. They have over 10,000 ships now, and they're building more every day. If this war starts, it won't end until one side is completely destroyed. General Oh Kyung-soo, who had arrived from Earth that morning, studied the tactical displays with grim concentration. Ambassador, our analysts estimate we can hold out for maybe 6 months against that kind of force. After that, he shrugged, humanity becomes extinct, but not everyone in the galaxy wanted war. In the corner of the chamber, an ancient being sat in meditation. Philosopher King Zendar was older than the Confederation itself, and his species had watched the rise and fall of civilizations for millions of years. Young diplomat, Zendar said, his voice like wind through stone. May I speak with you? Zhong approached carefully. Zendar's species looked like living mountains with crystal formations growing from their rocky skin. They were among the oldest beings in the galaxy, and their wisdom was legendary. Your Majesty, we are honored by your presence. Perhaps you can help us find a peaceful solution. Zendar's crystal eyes glowed softly. Child, I have been thinking about your species for many months. The Confederation fears you because they believe you are different from us, but I think they are wrong. How so, Your Majesty? Tell me, young one, what do you know of the Great Silence? Zhong frowned. I'm not familiar with that term. Zendar gestured to the walls of the chamber, which were covered in ancient carvings. Long ago, before the Confederation existed, the galaxy was very different. There were many powerful species, each one controlling vast territories. They fought terrible wars that destroyed entire star systems. Ambassador Song joined the conversation. What happened to them? They evolved beyond their predator nature, Zendar said simply. One by one, each species developed past the psychological traits that made them dangerous. They became peaceful, wise, civilized. They joined together to form the Confederation we know today. General O leaned forward. And the species that didn't evolve past their predator nature? They destroyed themselves, Zendar said sadly. Without exception. Until now, we believed that any species capable of interstellar travel had necessarily evolved beyond their predator instincts. Your species proved us wrong. A new voice joined the conversation. The collective voice, a hive mind species that served as the galaxy's living memory, materialized as a shimmering cloud of lights. The ancient records support Zendar's words, the collective voice said in perfect harmony. Every species in the Confederation went through what we call the predator phase during their evolution. Most transcended it before achieving space travel. Those that did not are no longer with us. So humanity is unique, Song said. We kept our predator instincts and still made it to the stars. More than unique, Zendar corrected. You are complete. You have both the wisdom to build starships and the strength to defend them. The Confederation has forgotten what it means to be strong. At that moment, alarms began blaring throughout the station. General O's communication device activated with an urgent message from Earth. General, this is Admiral Park. We've got a situation. Long-range sensors have detected something coming from outside the galaxy. Multiple fleets, unknown configuration, approaching at high speed. The chamber's main screen activated, showing a tactical display of the galaxy's edge. Hundreds of contacts were visible, moving in formations that looked disturbingly familiar to human eyes. Those are military formations, General O said immediately. Whoever they are, they're not here to talk. Zendar's crystal eyes brightened with alarm. The Devourers. After all these eons, they have returned. The what? Song asked. The collective voice's harmony became discordant with fear. The Devourers were the reason the Confederation was formed. A species from outside our galaxy that consumed everything in their path. They were driven away 3,000 years ago, but only barely. How were they defeated? Zhong asked. By species like yours, Zendar said quietly. By predator races that understood total war. But those species are all gone now. The Confederation that exists today has no memory of how to fight against absolute evil. The screen updated with new information. The approaching fleets were massive. Thousands of ships, each one bristling with weapons that made Confederation technology look primitive. Their technology has advanced, the collective voice observed. They are far stronger than when they last invaded. General O activated his emergency communicator. Admiral Park, patch me through to the Confederation High Council. Moments later, High Counselor Vextar appeared on the screen, his crystalline form fractured with stress. General O, we are detecting the same readings. These ships are not from our galaxy. High Counselor, General O said formally. Humanity requests permission to assist in the defense of galactic civilization. Vextar hesitated. General, our fleets are already mobilizing to face this threat. We do not need the assistance of... Yes, you do. Zendar interrupted, his ancient voice carrying absolute authority. Counselor, your fleets are designed to fight civilized enemies who follow rules. The Devourers have no rules. They will not accept surrender. They will not spare civilians. They will not negotiate. They will consume everything until nothing remains. Ambassador Song stepped forward. High Counselor, humanity knows how to fight enemies like that. It's what we've been trying to tell you. We're not monsters. We're guardians who remember how to be monsters when we need to be. The tactical display updated again. The first Devourer scouts had engaged Confederation border patrols. The results were catastrophic. Entire Confederation fleets were being destroyed in minutes. Their tactics are pure aggression, General O observed. No mercy, no prisoners, total destruction of everything they encounter. Your forces aren't trained for this kind of warfare. Vextar's form flickered with desperation. What would you have us do? Let us teach you how to fight dirty, Song said simply. Let us show you what 3 billion years of predator evolution can accomplish when it's properly motivated. The collective voice spoke again, its harmony now filled with ancient fear. The last time the Devourers invaded, victory required sacrifices that horrified the entire galaxy. Entire species volunteered for extinction to stop them. Planets were destroyed to deny them resources. The survivors swore never to become so ruthless again. That's why you need us, Zhong realized. You can't become monsters again, even to fight monsters. But we never stopped being monsters. We just learned to control it. Zendar rose from his meditation position, his massive form towering over the chamber. Young humans, will you stand with us against the darkness that comes from beyond the stars? General O looked at his diplomatic colleagues, then at the tactical display showing the approaching Devourer fleets. Your Majesty, humanity will stand with the Confederation. But this time we fight as equals. Agreed, Vextar said without hesitation. What do you need? Everything, General O replied. Every ship, every weapon, every species willing to learn how to win at any cost. And you need to be prepared for what we'll have to do. Victory against the Devourers won't be clean or honorable. It will be brutal and terrible and necessary. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. The galaxy's most peaceful civilization was about to learn warfare from the galaxy's most dangerous predators. General, Vextar said quietly, you were right. You are the galaxy's most deadly species, and thank the ancestors for that. Outside the station, the first reports were coming in from the outer rim. The Devourers had arrived in force, and they were everything the ancient records said they were. But this time, they would face something they had never encountered before. A galaxy defended by apex predators who had learned to think like civilized beings, while never forgetting how to kill like the monsters they truly were. The real war was about to begin, and humanity would finally show the galaxy why evolution had made them the way they were.